Hey everyone, Jim with Spark Knife Sharpening. I just wanted to make a little comment before we start the video. You notice in my title I said don't sharpen scissors without this, or don't sharpen them this particular way without this. I'm going to tell you what the this is right away. It's a lot of practice, and I'll tell you why. What you're going to see is not the best way to sharpen scissors on a belt like this. If you're going to sharpen scissors, I would recommend like a twice as sharp, which I am working on getting one, and we will get one. And that's kind of my goal right now, is to get a twice as sharp so I can do scissors properly. But the problem is you've got a bevel on these scissors, and when you sharpen on a belt, you'll notice that now the ones I have, the scissors open all the way, so I don't have a problem with it. But you'll notice that I rest it on top of the guide and run the scissors across the belt. Your angle this way had better be dead on. If it's not, then you are going to end up with a double bevel across here. It's either going to be this way or it's going to be this way, and you will not have hit the edge, which is what really needs the sharpening, because you need a nice crisp edge right along here. So you need to be dead on with this angle, and you may not see it in the video, but I look over the top and kind of adjust back and forth before I actually go into the belt, to make sure you get this angle right. And I'll tell you, I went through a lot of scissors to try to get this angle right consistently. So if you're going to even try this, I would take some old scissors you don't care about, and practice on getting these bevels dead on with your belt, and you will ruin a bunch of scissors. And you don't want to do that, especially if you're doing it for customers. You do not want to do that to a customer's scissors. The other thing is, I will do fairly inexpensive household scissors like this. I will not do expensive scissors, upholstery scissors, ones that cost obviously tons of money. I'll just refuse them. And obviously you do not want to touch pet grooming scissors or barber shears or pet grooming shears. You do not want to touch those on a belt like this. You will ruin them, and you'll be paying hundreds of dollars to replace somebody's shears. So I just wanted to preface that and tell you this is really not the best way by any means to sharpen a pair of scissors. I will do this for customers if they come to me with inexpensive household scissors. I know I can get away with this. I am good enough at this point with enough practice to get one single bevel along here. If you get a double bevel, even if the scissors cut, you're going to see that in the light. When they go to use the scissors, they're going to be like, what is wrong with the edge on these scissors? It's just real noticeable if you don't get it perfectly straight. So I just wanted to preface that before we get into the video, because I know some of you guys are going to look at that and go, oh my God, how is he sharpening scissors like that? And it's, like I said, a lot of practice, and inexpensive scissors I'll do it to. I won't do it to any kind of expensive scissors or shears. So, okay, let's go ahead with the video. Now that you've been forewarned, I'll show you how I sharpened up all these Fiskars scissors. Hey everyone, Jim with Spark Knife Sharpening. Had some scissors brought into us. Normally, if I had the equipment, I would prefer to do these on like a twice as sharp. However, I do not have one. So we're going to do these on our 1x30s. I'll show you how I do that. It's a little delicate to do some of these scissors. These are standard kind of household scissors. They're Fiskars. I believe they're all Fiskars. And so they're fairly easy to sharpen. And I'll show you how I do that on a 1x30. So let me move the camera over. I'm going to use our Trizac A30 belt. I don't want to go with, let me get you zoomed in right here. I don't want to go with a real rough belt like the 120, simply because all we're trying to do on this is on this edge right here. We just want to smooth out that edge, give it a nice good edge along here. You don't sharpen in here or flatten this out or anything. You do that by sharpening this edge and this edge. So we just want to flatten that edge out, get rid of any damage that's along the that's along the edges. We'll see how we're doing. I'm guessing these are going to cut pretty well as they sit, and they are. So we're good with that. But I'm going to go ahead and touch them up anyway. And when I do this, I lift my light up here. Get it out of the way. When I do this, what I usually do is I try to find the flat here. And I'm not going to go up at that angle, obviously, because I'm already at 16 degrees. So whatever my flat is here, I'm going to be a little bit more this way. And I try to ride. Hang on one second. Let me. Where's my. Well, I had a couple little dusters in here. Okay. So what I try to do is I ride the edge of my blade along the top of the angle guide. Want to check? They're really close on that one. So you have to be pretty steady, and you have to pretty much match what was already there. You don't want to end up with a bunch of double bevels. Okay, there we go. I don't know if you guys can see that or not on the camera. So we got one nice bevel all the way along. We'll hit this other side and touch it up. Okay, that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open these up, push them open, and then kind of hold them together as we open. Do that a couple times just in case there's any burr on there. I can already feel how sharp this edge has gotten. It's really sharp. So I'm sure we're still going to cut fine. I'm wondering if I don't know if I can do this in the air or not. Yeah, I'm going to end up poking myself if I try to do this. There you go. So we're slicing through with this. So we should be good with this one. Okay. Sounds actually good. We're done. So let's move on to the next one. It's just going to be the same thing. You know, I don't know if it's dirt. Or if it's maybe a little bit of rust. And I can see a little bit of damage along this edge. So we'll see what we can do to get rid of that. Almost. Okay, we get this side. Looks good. Feels very sharp. So again, we'll open it up. And then we'll open them, put a little pressure on it just to get rid of any burr that's in there. Do that a couple of times. If you feel like there still might be a little burr in there, you could always take a piece of leather and you just run it along the edge real quick like this. We'll get rid of any burr that's on there. Yep, that feels good. Okay, so make sure that one cut too. And you notice I'm cutting, oops, when I do this cut, I cut it really slow. If you cut slow, you're going to know if you're hitting something or hitting a rough edge. Once more, I think. You see, I got a burr on there. I'll grab this side. Nice thing about the A30 belt is that it takes off such a little amount each time that even if you have to run over, you know, a number of times, it's not like you're removing much metal at all. You're just really refining that edge. Yep, feels good. Oops. Well, dropping them doesn't help. Let's make sure we didn't damage them. Outsides look good. Let's make sure we're still cutting okay. Yep. This one is just a little loose, I think. I can feel like how loose this is when this is really loose. So let me grab a screwdriver and tighten this one up just a tad. It doesn't seem to be hitting right at the bottom of the blade. This part of the blade right here seems a little loose. So I'm just going to tighten this up a little bit. Okay. Let's see if we're cutting down at the bottom of the blade. Yep. Yep, so we're good there. Now these are a lot of fun because these are so tiny. This is not the tiniest of the bunch. More, I think. Okay. This side. And these, I think, are going to be the same thing. I think we're going to need to tighten these up a little bit. And I'm going to need a little tiny Phillips screwdriver for this one. They just feel really, see how loose those are? So I'm just there we go. So now you can see they kind of stop. They're good. Okay, last pair. These are curved. Basically, it's a flat. It's just a flat bevel on these. Okay. Now these unfortunately have a rivet, so there's really no way to tighten them. Let's see how it cuts. Nice. Okay. So we're all set with that. Okay guys, that's it for scissor sharpening. Like I said, you got to be a little careful with your angles on these. Hold it really steady. As I said, I use the top of the angle guide to hold it steady, and then I just got to hold my angle steady. I don't have to worry about doing any of this so much when it's riding on top of that angle guide. So, okay guys, we're done with that. 5 pairs of scissors, and we'll get you another video soon. Until then, we will see you in the next one.